Your kids can't stay at our beach house. Sister laughed while her twins trashed my Malibu cottage. It was my house, my $940,000 investment. I let them toast to real family, then calmly said, "Everyone out. Showing starts in 20 minutes. Dad, showing me. Yeah, I'm selling. You have 14 days. Her husband went pale. Your kids can't stay at our beach house. My sister said it like she was pointing out the weather. Not angry, not joking, just fact. Her twins were behind her in the living room of my Malibu cottage, running in circles with sandy feet, dripping orange soda on the hardwood I'd paid extra to have refinished. One of them jumped onto the arm of the white sofa with a slice of pizza in his hand. Grease hit the cushion in a perfect thumb-shaped smear. My son, Eli, was standing near the sliding doors, still holding the little cardboard box he decorated for the guest room. He'd drawn waves on it, wrote Eli's beach stuff in crooked letters. He'd planned where his books would go, which shelf his telescope would sit on. He'd been talking about our beach house weekends for weeks. Now he just stared at my sister like he'd misheard. I felt my jaw clench. "Excuse me?" I asked. She laughed, tossed her hair back, and looked past me toward the kitchen where my mom and dad were hovering around the island like judges on some low-budget cooking show. "Darl, don't be weird," she said. "We already talked about this. You said we could use the place for the summer. It doesn't make sense for your kids to stay, too. It'll be crowded. Besides, they live with you. They see you all the time. This is kind of our thing." Her twins picked that exact moment to knock over Eli's cardboard box. It hit the floor, spilling out his little model sailboat and the seashells he'd collected the last time we were here. One twin stepped right on the boat. Snap. "Oops," he said, then laughed. My sister looked back, glanced at the mess, and didn't move. "Boys, watch where you're going," she said without taking a step. "Anyway, the guest room is for the twins. It's more practical." Eli's face didn't crumple. It just emptied like someone turned the light off behind his eyes. I felt my hand start to shake. I'm a surgeon. I've held someone's heart in my hands without trembling. But watching my son stare at his crushed little boat in a house I'd saved 6 years to buy, that did it. I swallowed hard and didn't say what I wanted to say. Instead, I turned, grabbed a dish towel, and wiped the grease smear off the sofa like that was the most important problem in the room. My dad looked up from his beer. "Relax, son," he said. "Kids are kids. It's just stuff." No one noticed. Eli quietly kneeled down and picked up the broken pieces of the boat. But I did. I'm Daryl. I'm 41, a general surgeon in Los Angeles. I live in a 3-bedroom townhouse in Culver City with my son, Eli, who's 10, and my daughter, Zoe, who's 6. The Malibu Cottage is supposed to be our escape. I bought it 3 years ago, right after my divorce finalized. It's not some mansion on the water. It's a 2-bedroom cottage 3 blocks from the beach with faded blue shutters and a tiny front porch that always smells like salt and sunscreen. $940,000 and every bit of my savings, plus a mortgage that still makes my stomach tighten when I hit pay each month. But it was mine. Scratch that. It was ours. Me and my kids. My fresh start. My family never saw it that way. To them, I'm the successful one. The Dr. Moneybags, as my younger brother likes to joke. The one who escaped our small inland town and now owes the family because I made it. I pay my parents' property taxes every year. That's $5,200 like clockwork. I helped my brother Aaron with a down payment on his condo when his restaurant went under. $30,000 interest-free when my sister Jenna and her husband Mark wanted their twins in a private preschool near the coast to make connections. Guess who paid half the tuition their first year? I didn't brag about any of that. I just did it because that's what you do for family, right? But somewhere along the line, they stopped seeing it as help and started seeing it as entitlement. My wallet became a family resource, not a favor. And my kids, they were extra accessories, convenient when it made for cute holiday photos, invisible when it got in the way. When I bought the Malibu Cottage, my parents looked at the listing photos I showed them and said, "Oh, we have a beach house now." Not you and the kids. We at the time, I laughed it off. I offered the place to them for a week. That first summer, I even covered the cleaning fee. Then I let Jenna and Mark use it for their anniversary weekend. That turned into, can we use it for spring break? Which turned into we already told the boys the beach house is our special place. Meanwhile, every time I actually brought Eli and Zoe down, there was some reason my family couldn't make it. Traffic, soccer, church, a fundraiser. But if they wanted to use it without us, they always found time. I kept telling myself I was overreacting, that I was tired, that I was reading into things that weren't there. I work long hours, trauma surgeries, appendectomies, emergency call-ins at 2 o'clock in the morning. It was easier to just say yes when my mom called, asking, "Can Jenny use the cottage next month?" "It's only a few days, sweetheart. You're always working anyway." So I said yes again and again until the day my son's name got erased from a house I paid for. The whole "your kids can't stay at our beach house" conversation wasn't random. It was the climax of a pattern. 2 weeks before that, Jenna called me at the hospital during my lunch break. "Hey, Der," she said, using the nickname I only tolerate because I'm usually too exhausted to correct her. "So we were thinking, what if the boys basically stayed at the cottage this summer?" "The whole summer?" I asked. "Well, like most of it," she said. "You know how hard it is finding camps, and you're always busy. It just makes sense. We're already setting it up. We got the matching surfboards. Mark ordered some new outdoor furniture. It's going to be so cute. Like their little beach house. Our beach house." Something in my chest shifted at that word. What about Eli and Zoe?" I asked. There was a pause. "Well, obviously they can visit when you bring them," she said. "But you know how your schedule is. It's hard for you to commit. We're just trying to make the most of it. No point in the place sitting empty when family could be using it." Family. Funny how that word always came up right before a request for something expensive. I told her I'd think about it. What I didn't tell her was that Eli had been keeping a little notebook in his room. On the first page, in big block letters, "Summer at the beach house." He'd written a list. 1. Learn to surf. 2. Sleep on the porch. 3. See the stars with Dad. When we drove down that Saturday, it was supposed to be our first weekend of that list. Instead, I walked in on my sister announcing that my kids were basically banned from staying there overnight because it was too crowded for her twins. I should have shut it down right then, but I watched Eli's shoulders slump. Zoe, clutching her stuffed dolphin, looked up at me like she was trying to figure out if she'd done something wrong just by existing. My parents were at the kitchen island clinking glasses with Mark, talking about how the boys are going to make the best memories at our Malibu place. I swallowed the words burning my throat and told myself I'd talk to Jenna later, privately, calmly. Then came a toast. We were on the deck, the sun starting to drop, turning the water orange. Everyone had a drink. My mom insisted we take a family photo at the beach house, which meant everyone except Eli and Zoe, who were sent to go play in the sand so the adults could do a quick toast without kids screaming. They listened, of course they did. They always listened. I watched Eli take Zoe's hand and lead her down the stairs to the little strip of sand by the fence. He looked back once just to check if I was coming. I gave him a small nod. My chest felt tight. My dad raised his beer. "To real family," he said, "and to our beach house. May the twins grow up here, and may it stay in the family for generations." Everyone laughed and clinked glasses, my sister added. "And to brothers who finally do something useful with their money." They all laughed harder at that. I stared at them over the rim of my glass. My $940,000 mortgage, my down payment, my name, and only my name on the deed. My weekends of driving down alone to meet with contractors, painters, inspectors. The nights I spent on a crappy air mattress while renovations were happening, so I could save money by not renting a hotel. Useful. I let the toast finish. I even forced a smile for the photo when my mom insisted we all squeeze in on the deck. Mark's arms slung over my shoulders like we were partners in some shared investment instead of me being the idiot bankrolling their fantasy. Then I checked my watch. "Everyone out," I said. They all laughed like I was making a joke. My sister rolled her eyes. "The food's not even ready," she said. "Relax, Dr. Drama." Everyone out, I repeated, louder this time. Showing starts in 20 minutes. Everything froze. My dad frowned. Showing, he asked slowly. What's showing? I set my glass down on the railing. Yeah, I said. I'm selling. You all have 14 days to clear your stuff out. Mark went pale so fast it was almost impressive. You're what? I ignored him. I walked to the stairs and called Eli and Zoe up from the sand. Grab your things, guys, I said. We're heading home tonight. My mom's face pinched like she just tasted something sour. You're overreacting, she said. This is our family's house. No, I said, turning to look her right in the eye. This is my house, my kid's house, and I'm not paying for a place where they're told they don't belong. They didn't see the part that came before that announcement. They didn't see me in the tiny back bedroom earlier that day, leaning against the dresser while Eli carefully placed his little sailboat on the nightstand, next to the bed. They didn't see the way he smiled, shy and proud when he said, "Do you think Grandma will want to come stargaze with us tonight?" She might, I'd said, knowing she wouldn't. They didn't see him later alone in that same room, picking up the splintered pieces of that boat after the twins smashed it, whispering, "I can maybe glue it," like he was the one who had messed up. They didn't see Zoe asking Jenna in that tiny polite voice she has, "Can I sleep in the bunk bed too?" And Jenna saying, "No, sweetie. Those beds are for the boys. You're only here for the day. This house is rules." Rules. Apparently, one of them was that my children were guests in a house I paid for while her kids were residents. What they definitely didn't see was me in the bathroom, hands braced on the sink, phone propped against the mirror as I pulled up my email and scrolled to the contact labeled Realtor Malibu. Leah, I didn't think. I just hit call. "Daryl," she answered. "Everything okay? Do you still think we could get around 1-2 for the cottage?" I asked if I listed it this month. There was a pause. "I think we can get close," she said. "The market's weird, but your place is in good shape. Are you ready to list?" I looked at my reflection, tired eyes, beach towel around my neck, the faint sound of my family's laughter from the deck. "Yeah," I said, "I'm ready." She emailed me the paperwork within 10 minutes. Electronic signatures, listing agreement, photographer scheduled for the following week. But when my sister dropped that "your kids can't stay at our beach house" line and my dad toasted to real family without them, something in me snapped into focus. I called Leah back. "Can you do a last-minute showing?" I asked. "Today, in about an hour." "That's tight," she said. "But I have a couple in town looking exactly in that area. I can make some calls." 20 minutes later, she texted, "I'll be there in 40. Cash buyers, be ready." So, I was back on the deck. Things got loud fast. "You can't just sell it," Mark said, voice shaking. "We already paid for summer surf camp. The boys are counting on this place." "Then you should have bought a place," I said evenly. "Because this one is mine." My dad stepped forward, face red. "You're not thinking this through," he said. "Family comes first. We're all using it. You can't just take it away because you're sulking about some comment." "This isn't about a comment," I said. "It's about the fact that my son was told he can't stay in a house I bought because your favorite grandkids need their special place. It's about the fact that you toast to real family while mine is literally standing on the sand like extras in the background." My mom crossed her arms. "You're being dramatic." Eli didn't even look upset. He looked like someone pulled the ground out from under him. I said, "You just didn't bother to look." Jenna scoffed. "So you're going to punish us because your kid is sensitive?" I turned to her. "No," I said, "I'm going to stop funding a lifestyle where my kids are treated like they're optional." Mark tried again. "We've already told everyone about the family beach house." He said, "My parents are friends." I listed the address on my business website. "That's a you problem." I said, "You had 14 years to become a surgeon if you wanted your own beach house, Mark. You chose something else." He flinched. My mom switched tactics. "What about us?" she asked. "We've been coming here, too. Your father loves it. You know, we can't afford a place like this." I met her eyes. "You should have thought about that," I said quietly, "before you let your grandchildren erase mine." Silence. Then Leah's car pulled into the driveway. The buyers were a young couple in their 30s with a toddler and a baby. They stepped onto the porch with wide eyes, clearly not expecting a full audience of angry relatives. "Hi," the woman said, uncertain. "We're here for the showing?" I smiled. "Yep," I said. "Come on in." Ignore the crowd. They're just realizing actions have consequences. My dad hissed my name under his breath. I walked the couple through the house, pointing out the new appliances, the refinished floors, the small backyard where we'd set up a fire pit last year. Eli and Zoe trailed behind us quietly, Zoe still holding her stuffed dolphin, Eli clutching the broken pieces of his sailboat. The woman noticed him fiddling with the mast. "Nice boat," she said gently. "Did you make that?" He hesitated, then nodded. "It broke," he whispered. Her husband smiled at him. "Well, we'll be fixing lots of things if we move in," he said. "Old houses, right?" Eli looked up at me. "Will they have kids?" he asked softly when they stepped into the next room. "Yeah, buddy," I said. "They already do." "Will their kids get to stay here?" he asked. I swallowed. "Yeah," I said. "They will." He nodded slowly, like he was processing something bigger than I could name. The showing took 20 minutes. Leah pulled me aside on the porch afterward. "They're interested," she said. "Like very interested. They're pre-approved and talking cash. If we move fast, you could be in escrow in a week." I glanced back through the window. My family was clustered in the kitchen, watching us like we were performing surgery on their bank account. "Do it," I said. "List it at 115. If they offer close, we're good." Leah grinned. "I'll call you tonight." I went back inside. 14 days, I said to the room. "I mean it. I want every piece of your stuff out by then. Surfboards, clothes, that ugly metal wall art you hung, without asking. All of it." "You can't do this," Jenna said, eyes shining. "The boys love it here. We finally have somewhere nice. You're just ripping it away because your ego's hurt." I shook my head. "My ego is fine," I said. "My son's heart isn't. And I'm not keeping a house that reminds him he's second-ass in his own family." My dad's voice dropped. "You're going to regret this." I picked up Eli's cardboard box and handed it back to him. "No," I said, "I've regretted letting it go on this long." Then I took my kids, walked out the front door, and didn't look back. The fallout started before we even hit the freeway. My phone buzzed nonstop in the cup holder. "Mom, you can't sell without talking to us first." "Jenna, the boys are crying." "Are you happy?" "Mark, we've already booked guests through August." "What am I supposed to tell them?" "Dad, answer your mother." I turned the phone face down and kept driving. Zoe fell asleep, her head leaning against the car seat. Eli stared out the window, fingers tapping the broken pieces of his boat. "Are we in trouble?" he asked suddenly. "No, buddy," I said. "We're not in trouble. Is Grandma mad at us?" Zoe asked from the back, half awake. "She's mad at me," I said. "Not at you. And even if she is, that's not your job to worry about." Eli was quiet for a long time. "Is it still our beach house?" he asked. I took a breath. "Not for long," I said. "But we're going to find something that's just for us, okay? Somewhere no one can tell you you don't belong." He nodded slowly and went back to the window. That night, after they were in bed, I logged into my banking app and moved some funds. First, I led the automatic transfer that went to my parents' property tax account every March. Then, I removed myself as the emergency contact on Jenna and Mark's kids' school payment portal. I'd only been on there because it's easier for you to handle the card stuff. You're good with money. Then I opened a new savings account labeled Kids Place. First deposit, the amount I used to send my parents every month for emergencies. They'd have to find their own emergency fund now. The next day, my parents showed up at my townhouse without calling. Eli was at soccer practice. Zoe was on the floor in the living room drawing a wave with a little house in the middle of it. The house looked suspiciously like the Malibu Cottage. I opened the door before they could knock again. My mom didn't bother with hello. "You're selling our beach house?" she demanded. "I'm selling my house," I corrected. "Yes." My dad looked at the living room over my shoulder like he was already judging it. "Too small, too cluttered, too real." "Do you have any idea what you're doing?" he asked. "You're throwing away an investment." "No," I said. "I'm cashing out of a bad one." My mom's eyes narrowed. All because Jenna said the kids couldn't stay one weekend. One weekend, I repeated. She's been calling at her kid's house for a year, and you've let her. You've all stood there and watched my kids get treated like afterthoughts in a place I pay for. My dad sighed like I was being unreasonable. Kids forget this stuff, he said. They're resilient. I thought of Eli's notebook, of the way he looked at that cardboard box. No, I said quietly. You forget? He won't. My mom tried another angle. What about the money we've already put into it? She asked. We bought that patio set. We help with groceries when we're there. We've contributed. The patio set was $300 on clearance, I said. I've paid almost $200,000 in mortgage payments on that place since I bought it. We're not doing this math. She flinched. You're punishing us, she said. I'm protecting my kids, I replied. If that feels like punishment, maybe sit with that. My dad's voice hardened. After everything we've done for you, he said, we helped you with med school. We watched Eli when you were on call. And I'm grateful, I said. Which is why I've been paying your taxes for years. Which is why I helped Aaron with his condo. Which is why I let Jenna and Mark treat my beach house like their vacation club. I took a breath. But I'm done being the family ATM. I'm done paying for spaces where my kids are treated like they don't exist. He glared at me. So that's it? He asked. We're cut off financially. I said, yeah, you'll have to figure out life without my credit card for once. My mom's eyes filled, but the words coming out of her mouth didn't match tears. You're letting money come between us, she said. No, I said, you are. I'm just finally stepping out from under it. I opened the door wider, politely this time. You should go, I said. I have to take Zoe to a birthday party. My dad stared at me like he was memorizing this version of me. The one who told him no. This isn't over, he said. For me, it is, I replied. The offer on the cottage came 2 days later. Leah called while I was in the hospital cafeteria eating bad soup between surgeries. They came in at 1.1. She said, all cash, 30-day close. They'll do a 2 rent back if you need more time. I didn't hesitate, except I said when I hung up, I sat there with my plastic spoon halfway to my mouth and let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding for 3 years. 30 days later, the Malibu Cottage no longer belonged to my family. It belonged to a couple who sent me a thank you note with a photo of their kids building a sand castle in the backyard. You'd think that would be the end of it. It wasn't. The messages got uglier as reality sank in. Jenna, the boys are devastated. They asked when we're going back to our house. I hope you know you broke their hearts. Mom, we raised you better than this. Money isn't everything. Dad, you'll regret cutting your parents off when we're gone. Mark, we lost business because we advertised the cottage as a retreat location. You cost us actual income. Don't act like the victim. I kept my responses short when I responded at all to Jenna. I'm not responsible for promises you made with my property. To Mom, money isn't everything, but it reveals what people really value. To Dad, nothing. I stopped picking up calls. I blocked Mark after he left a voicemail calling me cold and brainwashed and whipped by your soft kids. The only message that landed where it was supposed to came from Aaron. I get it, he wrote. I should have said something sooner. I saw how they treated Eli. I just didn't want to be next. We grabbed coffee a week later. He apologized in person, said he'd been thinking about his own kids and how he'd lose it if anyone treated them the way our parents treated mine. He asked if the offer still stood for the occasional loan if they truly got desperate. No, I said, then softened. But I can help you make a budget or look at other options. I'll give you my time, not my bank account. He nodded. Fair. It was the first real adult conversation I'd had with a family member in months. We didn't get another beach house. Not yet. Instead, I took some of the sale money and did something small and simple. I rented a 2-bedroom place right on the sand in Ventura for a week. Just me, Eli, and Zoe. No grandparents, no aunts, no cousins. When we walked in, Eli stood in the middle of the living room and turned in a slow circle, like he was checking for ghosts of other people's expectations. Whose house is this? Zoe asked. It's ours for the week, I said. No one else's. Do we have rules? Eli asked carefully. Yeah, I said. We respect the space. We clean up after ourselves. No jumping on the furniture, and no one gets told they don't belong ever." He blinked a few times, then smiled. Really smiled. "Can I make a box for my stuff?" he asked. "Absolutely," I said. "We'll get supplies after dinner." That night, we walked along the shoreline in hoodies, the air cool and damp. Eli picked up a shell and handed it to Zoe. She held it up to her ear and giggled. "Does it sound like our house?" she asked. Eli shook his head. "No," he said. "It sounds better." When we got back, Eli spread out construction paper on the little dining table and started decorating a new box. He drew waves on the sides again. On the lid, he wrote, "Our place." Me, Zoe, Dad. No grandparents, no cousins, no one else. I didn't correct him. I just watched. 2 months later, I hosted a small barbecue at my townhouse. Just Aaron, his wife, their kids, and one of Jenna's twins. The kids fought with water balloons, while 2 lawn chairs sat empty under the tree, my parents' seats. Aaron said they call it the beach house you stole. I just laughed. Later, Eli asked if we'd ever go back. No, I told him, wherever we are together is ours. For the first time, that finally felt